everybody. Welcome to another edition of the 1 Million by 1 Million podcast. As you know, 1 Million by 1 Million is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in this edition, I'm speaking with Kara Weber of Brilliant Ventures. Welcome, Kara, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's quite an honor.
Well, let's get you acquainted with our audience. Tell us about yourself, a bit about your investing focus, how big is the fund, what kind of investments do you like to make? Let's just get acquainted.
Absolutely. So I founded Brilliant Ventures a couple of years ago after a 20-plus year career as an entrepreneur and operator. I was one of the first women starting one of the first companies at the dawn of the internet era, and went on to run or lead 6 more startups and early and growth stage internet-based and tech and data-enabled companies over the next couple of decades. Of those 7 companies, 4 of them had exits. So I had a ton of experience as an entrepreneur and operator, and in 2016 decided to apply that experience on the other side of the table as an investor. I specifically focus on the pre-seed and seed stage of investing because I think this is really where my experience as an operator comes most powerfully to bear. I know when I see an entrepreneur who has that special something. I've been through it so many times personally, seen it, not seen it, had wonderful experiences, had horrible experiences along the way. So I really felt like when you're investing at the seed stage, it is so much about who that founder is, their drive, their motivation, their hunger, their intelligence, their passion, their EQ, their IQ, et cetera. So I found.
And did I hear you say pre-seed as well?
Pre-seed as well, yes.
Although okay.
That's a pretty rare circumstance, I'll be honest with you, because we prefer to invest in companies who are post-revenue generally. So it's pretty hard to be pre-seed and post-revenue.
No, that's not going to happen.
It happens. It has happened.
So when you say post-revenue, what is the revenue threshold where you like to engage?
It isn't so much a number threshold. It's you have a product that is in market and that we can help you take that product more effectively and more fully and more scalably to market. Because the experience that we particularly bring.
So $10,000 in revenue counts as revenue stage for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's really about, and listen, there have been situations where we have invested in companies that haven't actually started charging yet, but have proven to us that they have a passionate customer base that will pay. We feel like there's enough of evidence of product market fit for a clearly revenue driving product or service that, their customers will pay for it. So, it's a flexible threshold, but it's a specific one based on what we bring to bear for our companies.
Got it. And what size is the fund?
It's a small fund. We focus on investing both our check size is quite small. We write a $50,000 check, but we like to say that we punch well above the weight of our check size because our investment is not only our capital, but our expertise. And our founders and CEOs that we've invested in, I think, would firmly concur that is what we offer.
And what do you like to invest in?
We invest in companies transforming the future of commerce, and those companies need to be led by brilliant, diverse leadership teams. When we say transforming the future of commerce, we are not only talking about brands and consumer products, although we have invested in several. We also invest in the companies who are driving the future of commerce sort of from the, behind the scenes, the technologies and software and to some extent services that are technology and data enabled and supporting the growth of commerce. So a great example would be Happy Returns, which is a company that offers services, software and logistics around the entire returns stack for commerce companies. So their customers are, include Everlane and Parachute and other well-known consumer brands who have happily handed off the responsibility for managing returns and the entire returns process to Happy Returns. So they're not a consumer-facing business specifically, but they are driving commerce by supporting.
Okay, so it's the e-commerce value chain, basically.
Exactly.
B2B and B2C. Got it. All right. And geography?
We focus primarily in New York and Los Angeles. Which is where, we're split fairly 50-50 between New York and LA. We've made 2 outlier investments, one in Seattle, one in the Bay Area.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about your companies. So pick whichever ones you think are highlights and double click down on them. Tell us what they do, why you chose to invest in them, at what stage did you get involved, and so forth.
Absolutely. We invest in, it's hard for me to say, it's very hard for me to choose favorites. They're all my babies. But I will drill down on a couple that I'm particularly, proud of for specific reasons that I think highlight the relationships that we develop with entrepreneurs. One is a company called Camera IQ. They are an AR, or as they call it, camera media platform. It's a B2B platform for brands, marketers, agencies, publishers who want to leverage AR in more powerfully connecting with their loyal customers or their following or whoever it is. So they work with brands from many of the major professional sports leagues to Refinery 29 and Neiman Marcus to Turner Broadcasting has leveraged the Camera IQ platform to bring camera media and AR executions to life for their customers and for their audiences. The reason I'm especially proud of that one is that I met founder Allison Wood and her co-founder Sonia Sao long before they had raised a penny. And Allison was sort of this voice in the wilderness, singing the praises and talking about the future of AR and how, people were spending less and less time in front of all these other screens, movie screens, television screens, even laptop screens, in favor of the screen we all spend the most time staring at, which is our phone. And, the camera built into the phone is really, in her eyes, the future of media. Nobody heard her. Nobody believed her. Everyone thought she was crazy. But I, as a former marketer, saw it. I really understood that if she was able to bring this new channel, this new platform to life for marketers, they would go crazy for it because they're always looking for new and more powerful and frankly, the most up-to-date, current, exciting ways to connect with their consumers. So that was one that I feel incredibly proud of. Brilliant Ventures was, I think, the first institutional investor to commit to investing in Camera IQ. They ended up being, their investor list now is sort of a who's who. Shasta Ventures led it. Homebrew is an investor. No Name and Act One. They have an incredible.
And what do they do?
It's a B2B platform for marketers, brands, agencies, and publishers to leverage AR.
And what is give me a use case.
Yeah, so, one of their early customers was FabFitFun, which does a really, really popular subscription box. And they did a deal with FabFitFun where their FabFitFun customers could launch the FabFitFun app that had Camera IQ's technology built into it and, hold their camera over their subscription box, bringing each item in the subscription box to life with a full description, media around it, links for further information, et cetera. So they were able to connect their customers not only with the product, the standalone product in the box, but more fully connect them to the brand behind that product via AR.
Okay.
So that's one example. Another example,
And when did you get involved? You said you got involved before anybody else because you met this person long back and you resonated with what they were saying. At what stage did you actually write the check?
Well, I actually wrote the check in her case, at the pre-seed stage. I invested in her first round.
Okay, pre-seed. All right, cool. So this is one of those exceptions where you did do pre-seed.
Well, she actually was. She was a rare exception in a couple of ways where I did do pre-seed, but she actually already had paying customers. So she was able to invest some of her own, do a little bootstrapping, and get her first customers. And then, that's when her pre-seed was a number of institutional checks.
Okay, so that's not a pre-seed really. That's a bootstrap company. That's bootstrap first, raise money later.
Well, yes, sort of. I mean, it's
which, by the way, is I think one of the best ways to do businesses, and we.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and by the way, I encourage a lot of founders to strongly consider the possibility if it is an option for them. I also understand that for many, many, many founders, it's not an option, and that's okay too. In her case, she bootstrapped it for a very brief period of time. I mean, what she was doing was so resonant with people who were looking down the road, people who were seeing the future so quickly that her bootstrapping period was very short. It wasn't like she had been bootstrapping it for 5 years or something. So, she was sort of 6 months in at the point when we all came in and supported her. So that's one. Another great example is a company, and Camera IQ is based in Los Angeles. They are currently raising their Series A, and we are at the very beginning of hearing exciting things about that company. Another company that we're particularly excited about is on the other side of the spectrum. It's a D2C business called Haute Hijab, and they make very stylish scarves for Muslim women who observe the practice of hair covering. And founder Melanie Elturk realized that there was, not really a great product solution for those women, and particularly not a Western-style brand around the hair scarf, the hijab. The solution before they came to market were very cheap, sort of very, very inexpensive hijabs that you would buy at Muslim sort of festivals and conventions, or women in the U.S. and abroad were buying scarves at places, on the low end like Forever 21 or Zara, or on the high end, Gucci and Hermes scarves, none of which were actually designed for this purpose, which had a couple of problems. One was the scarves didn't stay on your head correctly. They weren't designed for that shape and size and purpose, so they would slip and fall off. Or they were the wrong kind of fabric. It's really hot to have a scarf covering your hair all day, every day, and a thick silk twill Hermes scarf was just very uncomfortable. So she identified this opportunity to create scarves that were specifically purpose-built for hair covering, purpose-built to be hijabs, in stylish and useful prints, and neutrals and solids, and created a very Western-style brand around that. So when you visit,
and is this an entrepreneur who comes from that ethnic background? How did she zero into that?
Yep, she's an American-born and bred Muslim woman who was a lawyer. She was actually a judicial clerk, and identified this gap. She did not come from an entrepreneurial background at all, but realized that there was this huge hole in the market because it turns out Melanie is an extraordinarily stylish woman herself with a huge Instagram following. And she really understood the problem herself, but also because she was a very stylish woman who had this following, she knew there were thousands and maybe millions of women who were having the same challenge. She recognized that she could build the brand in the U.S., but that ultimately taking a Western-style brand international and taking it to global markets of Muslim women would be very successful because she understood those markets very well. She had done a lot of work in Dubai and elsewhere. So she really had she's an American woman, an American Muslim woman who covers her hair, but really understands the whole issue from a global perspective. And they just raised their seed round, sort of their post-seed. It was wildly oversubscribed, and she is now batting away suitors trying to give her more money. So that business has done very, very well, and she's selling generally a very reasonably price pointed product. The average hijab they sell is $20 to $25, though they have luxury collections, etc. And now they're adding to that product line by selling underscarves and moving into products for hair that is, your hair is very affected if you wear it and cover it all day, every day. So they really have a huge opportunity to meet the very specific needs from an previously underserved audience. And that was very attractive to us.
Very interesting.
So that's another company we love a lot.
What other trends are you seeing in your deal
flow? A female-founded company in LA, a female-founded company in New York. I'd like to talk about one that is, both of those are clearly commerce-related. Camera IQ is a B2B software.
You're cutting away.
That is used behind the scenes by marketers and brands to sell more product.
Hello?
Code Hijab produces a product and sells it by leveraging technology and data and the internet.
So you went quiet, Tara. You went quiet for like 30 seconds. I didn't hear what you said. If you could rewind and replay, that would be great.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now successfully?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great.
Go ahead.
So I said I talked about a female-founded company in LA and a female-founded company in New York. We don't only invest in companies founded by women, but because I'm sitting here in I'm actually doing this call from the site of one of my investments. So I'm going to focus on female-founded businesses today, of which about 65% of our companies have female founders.
Okay.
The company I'm referring to is The Riveter, which is a Seattle-based company that with locations in Seattle and Los Angeles and plans to expand around the U.S. The Riveter is a female-forward co-working space and community designed by women for everyone. So it's this incredible new addition onto the scene for women who are starting businesses, running their own businesses, doing creative work, running companies or investment funds. They've got 3 locations in Seattle. They now have 2 in Los Angeles, and all of those locations have very quickly not only attracted lots of members who do co-working there, but fantastic events. Jane Fonda has held a couple of events around her work for bringing better wages to restaurant workers at the Riveter recently. I think all of the current sitting female U.S. senators have now spoken at events at the Riveter. So the Riveter has really become this sort of brand and sort of point of gravity for intelligent women making powerful things happen. So that's a really an investment we're incredibly proud of, and they are raising their Series A right now, and we'll make exciting announcements about that coming forward as well. I invested in that one, even though there wasn't a commerce component at the time of our investment, which was at the seed stage. We recognized that the opportunity to create this incredible community around educated entrepreneurial women was ultimately going to create commerce opportunities that were unparalleled. So it was a forward-thinking, looking down the road, not quite as on the nose as our typical commerce-related investments, but seeing the opportunity for its future.
Okay. So I guess the question that got lost in the time that we've lost the connection was, what are the trends that you're seeing in your deal flow?
That's an excellent question. I'm seeing so many deals right now. I'm having a hard time sifting through them truthfully right now. I guess the trends that I'm seeing are ones that we alluded to earlier, which is, we're seeing a lot of companies who have to be a lot further along in order to get their very first check. It used to be, the era of back of the napkin funding is long past for all but the most proven entrepreneurs, right? So that's not not a huge insight, but it certainly is true. I mean, the opportunities that we have to write checks that are, quote, very early checks, but they're into companies that are already in market doing incredible things.
Yes, that's right. Everybody wants companies that are already in revenue these days.
It's a huge shift even in the last couple of years. The other thing we're seeing is, with the influx of support and resources for, women, minority, previously underrepresented founders, there's, especially in LA, and I feel extraordinarily proud to be part of the LA venture and entrepreneurial community where diversity really is very celebrated and supported. The city of Los Angeles just announced its Pledge LA initiative, which I'm very honored to have been a part of the creation of in partnership with the Annenberg Foundation and the mayor of Los Angeles' office, where we got most of the venture firms in LA and many of the tech companies have signed on to this pledge, which is our commitment to, commit to diversity and civic engagement with our companies and our firms. We've looked at what's happened in other markets like San Francisco, where there is now this major schism between the community, the people of San Francisco, and the tech companies. It feels very adversarial. We don't want that here. We want the boom of technology in LA to benefit everyone in LA, not just a very limited few. So I'm very proud to be part of that pledge, and I'm very proud to be part of a market where there are a lot of female investors, there are a lot of female founders, there are a lot of investors of color and founders of color. Arlen Hamilton's Backstage Capital is based here in LA. She is in the process of raising a $36 million fund that will only invest in Black female founders. And then, by the way, Backstage Capital is actually based at the Riveter. Their offices are at the Riveter, so I love how that comes together. So, an incredible focus on diversity and something we're very proud of.
So the trend that you really want to highlight, it sounds like, is the evolution of female entrepreneurship.
The trend is in growing recognition of founders who do not fit the classic patterns that were, that VCs sought to match historically, which were, quite frankly, white guys who went to Harvard or Stanford. That is changing. There are more women and folks who don't meet that pattern, not just women, but folks who do not meet that pattern of people of privilege who went to a very short list of universities, who have fed historically the ranks of venture capital as well as entrepreneurship. That's changing, and it's really changing here in LA. So that is a huge trend that I'm very happy about.
All right. On that note, Kara, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Listeners, thank you for listening. Please come back for more. We will keep bringing you more of these conversations so you can take a peek inside the mind of an experienced investor or an experienced entrepreneur. And meanwhile, do come to the roundtables. 1Mby1M.com. Free public roundtables is where you'll find the schedule of our online mentoring sessions. See you soon.